What's up, everybody? It's your boy Nagamura, back again for another video, and today I'm going to be addressing my backlog, specifically the fact that I've actually covered a huge portion of it and just didn't tell anyone because I thought it would be more entertaining to tell everyone when I was to this point. I have 4 games, 3 of which are disc, one of which is Pokemon, and it's a Let's Go game of all fucking things. And needless to say, these things are in my backlog because of one reason or another. Tales of Arise was actually just something I got that I really enjoy and I just haven't finished. It was something that, because I was at the height of my game collecting, this is one of the very few games that I wanted to give the time when I didn't have a million other things to play. Dragon Ball Kakarot is another one of these games that I actually genuinely wanted to finish. The problem with that was I lost my save file. All of it. So I have to start from the very beginning again. Which sucks, but I'll make do, because that means that I'm starting from the very beginning, and I was almost to the end of base game. I don't have DLC, but I was to the end of base game. So sitting here and not having this finished is actually just due to the fact of having to restart. And that sucked, but it happens. And then Dragon Age Inquisition actually falls under the category of a game that I actually don't really feel like finishing right now. It's not that it's a bad game, it's that for something like this, I have to dedicate time to, like a severe amount of time to, because most RPGs, especially Dragon Age, I know is a very long and drawn out game with a very in-depth story, and I really just need to be able to dedicate time to it, and I just haven't been able to do that because of everything else I was playing. Speaking of that, I mentioned that I played through a bunch of my backlog. So who wants to hear about the 5 games that I didn't care enough about to be super excited about playing and talking about this entire time, or weren't so horrendously obnoxious to the point where I didn't have anything to bitch about? That's what this video is. So, yeah, let's get into it, shall we? Starting off the list, we have the Spyro trilogy. And the only reason I didn't bitch about this, and the reason that I didn't talk about very much when I was playing through it, is because I actually did. I talked about this shit non-stop because I had plenty of things to bitch about. And it's not that the game was hard or anything like that. It's just, it's not my preference in styles of games, I guess. Realistically speaking, if it was Crash Bandicoot or something, I probably would have been more complaining about the difficulty, but still having a blast. Spyro isn't really difficult, it's just obnoxious in some ways. There's moments where the game just feels not to how I like, and that might just be the Reignited trilogy, or maybe the fact of I thought I was a Spyro fan as a kid, but I didn't really enjoy revisiting the games as an adult. So, realistically speaking, because I never really beat any of the Spyro games, this was actually something that was in my backlog for a while, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't hate it. It's not a bad game, actually. Yeah, I griped about it a bunch, and it's just not my preference in-game, but at the same time, it's also not a horrible game. Honestly, I spent a lot of time playing this game, and can validate the $20 I spent on it from a pawn shop. So, hey, Spyro, I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Honestly, just due to the fact that the game actually wasn't that bad when I sat back and thought about it. Next, we have 2016 Doom. Yes, this is the Eternal Collection that came with, 1, 2, and 3 as a digital download code. I didn't even download those! but I did play the 2016 Doom, and I'm gonna be honest, I guess I'm just not a fan of Doom. I thought I did. I thought I was a fan of Doom. I tried my best to play this game, like, to back to death, honestly. But it's just not something I was enjoying. It was something that I also didn't really talk about, because, like, when I first initially played the game, I bitched and complained constantly. But in all honesty, after finishing it and realizing that it's just run and gun, that's all it really is. It's a run and gun. Not a fan of it, honestly. Weirdly enough, a game that I will talk about that I did play this campaign of, Black Ops 3 is actually got a really entertaining campaign for a shooter. It's something I'm going to revisit, actually, later down the road, because I actually enjoyed myself, so take that with what you will. But Doom, just not for me. I am glad that I did get to play a modern Doom, so I could get an opinion of the series. All the weapons seem kind of busted, and all of the enemies didn't seem that hard. Maybe I'm just underplaying it, I guess. I can't remember if there was a difficulty slider or not, and I might have been playing on a lower difficulty or something. It just didn't seem hard, but at the same time, it also seemed extremely hard. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on this game, though? I kind of want to know other people's opinions on it, because my opinion is just, it's okay. Dead Island. This fucking train wreck. So I'm only didn't really talk about playing this because I had originally bought this to play with a friend of mine, and we didn't get to play it together. So yeah, I blame that on how this game was set up to play together with people. Can't really do that anymore. It sucks, in all honesty, because this was actually really cool. And I really enjoyed my playthrough of the game again. But just because my friend wasn't able to play with me anymore, because the whole, like, it requires Xbox Live, even though, you know, the game it says on the back 2 to 4 player co-op. But you can't do that on the same console. What the fuck, man? Anyways, that's my biggest gripe with that. GTA 4. It's a game. I played it. I did what it said on the case. Stole a shit ton of cars. I don't know. I guess it's just the whole, like, not giving a fuck about the whole, like, criminal thing. Like, I don't know. I found myself doing the same thing I do in Saints Row games with this, which I'd rather play Saints Row. I'm gonna be honest. I'd rather play Saints Row, because whereas this game takes itself too seriously, Saints Row doesn't take itself seriously at all. And I find myself having more fun playing that. But basically, I'd say this, just play Saints Row over GTA. Or if you like GTA, play GTA. I don't know. Fucking, realistically speaking, it's just fucking Saints Row, but serious. Like, what do you want from me? I'm not into serious games like this. Like, it's not for me. It's fun, but I'm like, man, again, I did the same thing I do in Saints Row, which is nothing important. Stealing cars, beating up cops, slapping random civilians, and just causing as much chaos as physically possible, and then focusing on the story for a little bit. I didn't get much done, and maybe that's just on me, but the game also kind of feels short if you don't go dicking around, so I don't recommend it. which is kind of odd to say given the fact that I highly recommend Saints Row. The last one on my list is actually one that I don't really want to talk about, mostly just due to the fact of the moment that I showed this game to a friend of mine, there was a stigma around it, and so this video is really just a giant excuse to talk about this game, because I really enjoyed every last minute of it, believe it or not. Infamous Second Son. It's no surprise a hack and slash with a bunch of BS powers is something that the hack and slash guy with a bunch of Devil May Cry games is interested in. Honestly, I like the main character. Just finished this yesterday and I'm forgetting his name. But the game's build up, you know, getting more power, improving, getting stronger, taking down the fucking big corporation shit and all that. Just something about, you know, the way that this game was handled is just really good. I liked the graffiti portions specifically because something that doesn't need to be in the game, but I'm glad it is. It showcases how the controller can be utilized in a different way. The fact that there is a motion control inside of it that no fucking game uses, but it also uses the touchpad multiple times throughout the game. Be it regenerating your, I can never remember what, smoke abilities, but also just in general for like remedial tasks like, you know, scanning your finger for shit and fucking, like, the major thing that's cool about it is there's a large portion of the start of the game has you actually utilizing touch controls for motion to open up shit and whatnot. So it's a fun game. If you're interested into playing something that's a little more experimental and very early days PlayStation, I highly recommend it. If you're not really interested in hack and slashes or in general games that are very heavily story driven, or just in general games that fall under the category of kind of a multiple like genre, it can be a really hard game for you to be interested in. And if it's something that's been pushed, if you know, I'm not going to push this game on many people. This is just something I genuinely enjoyed. But again, it's a hack and slash. It's a game where boosting your power and getting new abilities over time. That in the overworld is massive once you finally get to Seattle. It's just fun. No spoilers, or at least I tried not to, for the most part, for people who do want to play this, outside of a few small little things. This is a fun game. I highly recommend it. And I'm going to mention the games that... I know this is my top 5 games that I didn't really talk about in my backlog, but I'm going to mention a couple other games in the next portion of this video that I'm not going to talk about because I just don't feel like it. But I will give off names so people know what I've been playing. Starting off, Ninja Storm Connections. The Boruto story was just alright. Soul Calibur 4. Doesn't really have a story worth talking about. I mean, there is... it's alright. Skate 3. Fun, but it's a skateboarding game. I can't really talk about this. It's more something I'd show people. Dark Souls 2. I'll be honest, I fucking hate Dark Souls. This game, what is the main reason why I've realized I'm a strength build player and I hate it. Kingdom Hearts, which I did play back through all of the games, and fun little fact here, it's play back through. Can't really talk about it. It's something I've already talked about religiously. Persona 5, technically a revisit, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Actually, you kind of get to this point where you've played enough games to know that, maybe revisiting games isn't always the best call, and Persona 5 is definitely the case with that. It's not that it's a bad game, because I'm going to touch on this one a bit lightly later on, but basically it's just one of those, it's an extremely long game for me to be revisiting, making it to the point where it was eating up a lot of time. Because I remember people spoiling stuff for me, but I sat down and thought about games I've completed, and I actually completed this even with the spoilers. So, newsflash, this game is great, but if I'm going to revisit it, it's going to be later down the road, because I've already technically beat this game before. This game technically is not done. I want to address that. This game is actually something I started with my friend Chris, and I actually want to finish it with him. So this is going in the backlog as a game to play with him later down the road when we actually have a place. Because I don't like starting games with people and then playing through it alone. So there's that. It's just Lego Batman. It's just like the first fucking two, okay? I don't need to sit here and talk about fucking Lego Batman. Realistically speaking, you want an opinion on this game? Play it. Just fucking play it. If you like Batman, if you like Lego, play it. It's perfectly fine. It's not the greatest Lego Batman. Honestly, it's, in comparison to 1 and 2, it's kind of shit, but if you like Lego Batman, it's not really going to let you down. So, that's the video. That's the whole backlog. Not every game that was in the backlog was mentioned. But that's okay. Because there's some games that, realistically speaking, I'm not going to be touching. I don't care if they get completed. And at the end of the day, I have completed far more games in my spare time than I wanted to talk about. Because, whereas, yes, I play a lot of Fortnite, and I play a lot of other fucking games like Monster Hunter. But at the same time, I also make sure that I make time for games that I actually want to play. Realistically speaking, the only reason I don't talk about my backlog and shit that I have been playing and have finished is mostly due to the fact if I hyperfixate on shit, and if I start talking about stuff that I'm actively playing, I'm gonna annoy myself again. I already do it with Fortnite, and I don't even fucking play it as much as I lead people on to believe. Because most of the stuff when I was grinding Tycoons, there was a lot of times where I would literally just sit inside of a Tycoon, especially back in Chapter 5, Season 1, where I just sit in a Tycoon waiting for XP. You know what I was doing while I was waiting for that XP? I was playing other shit on another console because I genuinely just wanted to get stuff done. I multitask. It's a bad habit. I don't have 2 monitors for nothing. So, yeah, my backlog's not nearly as bad as it used to be. But that's to be fair, the reason why my backlog isn't as bad as it is purely out of the fact of I don't really buy games I don't plan on playing. Yeah, sure, there's some games that I've tried to force myself to sit through, and this is a game that I've played a decent chunk of, put it away, played a decent chunk of, put it away. There's very few games in my library that will never get finished. This sadly is one of them. It's not that the game is bad, I don't know, there's something about it that I can't put my finger on that's keeping me from being able to finish this game. And maybe it's the overwhelming amount of shit that my friend was forcing on me, or maybe it's overexposure because of my friend Scott. Who knows? But at the end of the day, Horizon Zero Dawn is a great game. It's just not for me. I'm sorry. You can leave the hate in the comments. It's just not something I'm planning on playing. However, there's one other game I did not mention, and I'm gonna mention it here. Watch Dogs Legion. It's not getting finished. I'm sorry, you know what? There's very few games in a franchise that I will actively say I'm not going to finish. And this is one of them. And it's not because I don't enjoy playing the game or the fact that I'm not planning on revisiting the game at any point. It's actually because I am expecting myself to go back to this very soon, actually. And the sad thing about this game is because I can literally recruit anyone, this game's not getting completed. Ever. There's so much extra bullshit for me to be able to get away with. This is basically my version of copium. This is my drug. This is like my addiction right here. Because the moment that I load this up, I'm solid for like 200 hours. And then I have so much other else I can fucking go and do. Because this isn't a game I'm planning on completing. I'm gonna try and recruit every single old fucking person I can. Because that's just what I do. I enjoy playing games like this. And realistically speaking, it's not getting completed because I don't see myself completing this at any length of time. Just because of how much shit I can get away with. There's games like that have just too much to them. Where just loading them up to dick around. That's what this is going to end up becoming. And I hate that because this is not complete. I know for a fact I haven't completed the game, but it's not happening. And I'm sorry. But to be fair, that's not me saying I'm not going to fucking play the hell out of it. With that, I've rambled enough. I think I've gotten enough content for you guys to understand what's going on. And the sad thing is we're not fucking done. I didn't really know how to segue into this, but there's a massive reason why this game isn't complete and isn't getting completed for a while. And it's not because it's bad, it's not because I don't feel like playing it, it's not because I'm playing through it with another person. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with the fact of my friend was like, oh, well, there's these followers, and if your follower has been through quests you've been through, it'll it'll actually know what to do and guide you through what you're supposed to do. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. You know what I want to do? I want the person who recommended this game to me, my future roommates, to sit down with me while I play through this in its entirety. If I get stuck, I want him to guide me. Not tell me, guide me on how to get unstuck. Because I want to give him a genuine experience of this game. This game that he said is his absolute favorite game of all time. I want him to see firsthand my full experiences with this masterpiece. The little bit of time I got to spend with this game before dropping it because of my thought process on why I haven't completed it shows that this game is held at so much higher regard than any other game I have. I could give two fucks about most of them, but this one is special. This one is different because a friend told me that this was his favorite game. He told me that he wanted me to play this game and give him my genuine thoughts and feelings on this game. And I don't want to do that over a video call. I don't want to do that over a call, and I don't want to do that days after I've had time to fester on the game. I want him to know right then and there how I'm feeling. I want him to know how I feel about this game. This game is fun. This game is entertaining. And the little bit that I did get to play, I absolutely adored every second of it. So when I say that I want to play this in its entirety with him right there with me, I'm wanting to play this alongside him. This isn't something that I can technically play two players, but this is something I genuinely want him to get the first experience I have with this game in person. Because I don't want this of all games, no matter what other game I mention, no matter what other games I play, this is the game he deserves to be able to see me play through for my very first time in its entirety. Because this game holds so much more value to me than any other game I own. Now, with that being said, that is everything I wanted to talk about in this video, barring a few things that I'll bring up in a future video because I am working on the Hammer video. I've been kind of behind on videos, and this is kind of my way of explaining, hey, the reason why I'm behind on videos is because I've been working on my backlog. So it's not that I've been burnt out on recording or anything like that. It's just I've been so busy trying to make sure that when I got to do this video, my backlog was close to complete. So, which I should have my backlog down to about one game soon. And I'm down for that. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you never miss a video. And double check to make sure that you are subscribed. I'm gonna start attempting to upload a little more consistently. Life has kind of thrown a wrench in that. But I'm starting to get back to the state that I was way back before everything started going downhill. So this is my essential. There's a lot of stuff that's done, and I'm ready to take the next steps. So I'm excited. How about you guys? I think I'll try and upload a Fortnite video in between doing the Monster Hunter videos. I don't know yet. There's a lot of stress that comes with the Monster Hunter videos because I really want to make sure it's my genuine feelings on those videos. So when it comes to doing those videos, I think I'm gonna take my time with them and not make them like a weekly thing like I was originally trying to, because I burned myself out very quickly because there were some weapons, especially the lance, and I feel bad because I didn't talk about the lance as much as I wanted to because I had a deadline. I don't want that to be the case again. So I'm gonna take my time with the videos, specifically Hammer, because Hammer is something I recorded a bunch of stuff for and then deleted the video because my opinion has changed. So, with all that being said, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. This is Yuya Nagamura, signing off. Peace.